can be a game changer. So any tension in here, and you won't feel it until you're too tired, but that squeezing where you feel like you're pushing against, trying to ram something, it means you're in the wrong spot. Okay, so do not do this one thing if you want to increase your range. So many people do this one thing that is actually stopping them from being able to unlock those high notes with freedom. Don't forget to subscribe, click on your notifications so every time we send out a video, you can follow us and get breakthrough with your voice. I'm passionate about helping you learn to unlock your voice, and it's not intuitive. Like a lot of the things that unlock your voice, you think you're doing right, but they're actually working against you. So today we're going to go through the straw, how to use the straw right to unlock your high notes, how to use the cup right to unlock your high notes, and then also the one thing you should not be doing that is actually going to be shrinking your range and stopping you from getting the high notes. And I'll hit that at the end. So the first, we're going to start with the straw. Now you see a lot of exercises, a lot of people using straws online, and really encourage you to use straw phonation. So that's now, so many people do this and it actually can cause problems. And the reason is it's a fantastic tool, but if we're pushing too hard, what's going to happen is we'll go and we'll get stuck. So 50% of people get stuck on the straw and think, what's going on? And they push harder and harder, but it's actually the opposite. If you're going to use the straw right, you've actually got to go to a point where you're not pushing at all and you're letting your voice guide you. So for me, I might go very gently. And I'm actually feeling the high notes go back gently and down. So if you're using the straw, it's so important you're using it right. Now the straw is similar to the where you're releasing air, or even the hand's meant to give resistance. But the goal of the straw is to help you balance out your air and muscle balance. That's why we've got air escaping. Now you can also use the straw to sing on. So can you hear that? But if you're doing that and it's just all stuck and you're feeling tension here, it's wrong. Stop immediately. And you need to go back to some of those tongue exercises. Anything that is not squeezing and causing pressure. Because what's happening is you're still pushing into your mix and you're actually going to go backwards. The more harder you push, the more your range is going to shrink. So it's so important you're doing it right. And for you at the moment, the straw might be the wrong tool, or you've got to do it much softer. For you, if you're finding you're getting pushing and squished, you might find the uglies or the cup is actually going to help you more. We're going to move on to the cup in a minute. But the main goal for you is if you're pushing and it's getting stuck, then your range is actually shrinking. So we don't want that pushing against the pressure. We want to go so soft that we're starting to dislodge that resistance, which is happening through your muscles that are programmed to squeeze. So we want to start to work around that with maybe your tongue out. Or the uglies. But you're not ready for this tool if it's squeezing. Very important, very important. Now, the second tool we're going to use is the cup, which is the game changer. Now, the cup is so much better than the straw for a lot of people that have got a strong chest and are struggling with the high notes. And it's because it helps with placement, helps with a lot of other things. The straw does help with placement. But if you're a very strong chest and you've got no head voice, or you're struggling to get those high notes, so that might sound like or and you've just got that light falsetto. There's so much tension going on here because it's been programmed for so long. We've got to start to unlock this. And I've had a few comments where people have gone, but I keep getting stuck there. Explain all these things. But there's actually 5 or 6 tools. And for some of you, if you're getting stuck there, you need a trainer to guide you through. because you're not getting it right. You're pushing and pushing harder and harder, and it's actually causing your voice to shrink or to block. So the muscle memory is just getting stuck in a short and fat placement, which is how the vocal folds sit short and fat when it's low, but it wants to stretch out and it can't. So for some people, I'll do an exercise and it won't work on another person, but it'll unlock them. So we have to guide you through that, because if you're stuck, it means you're not working it out yourself. But the game changer is if you're pushing and it's just getting stuck, then you're actually causing your range to shrink. So we've got to unlock that. Are you enjoying our tips so far? Did you know you can book us one-on-one, me or one of my team, to really fast track your progress? So many people are using tips and kind of guessing, but really with the guidance of a coach, just like going to the gym, you'll fast track your progress and really unlock things with clarity and guidance. We'd so love to help you. Why don't you DM us or send us a message and let's get you started. Now, I love the cup because it's a game changer for people that have that strong chest with no head. And now the way the cup works is that we're going to breathe into it like the straw, but it's different because the air isn't escaping like the straw, so it's doing a different thing. It's actually teaching you resetting placement. And the cup exercise is the only exercise we have that reduces swelling in the vocal folds. It's like a massage. It's the only thing we can get swelling down. And there's a well-known story about Adele who was on tour who was hemorrhaging. So her vocal folds were bleeding. They were that traumatized, which means they can't stretch to get the high notes. And 5 minutes on the cup in between sets, she was able to sing for another 30 minutes. So it heals, it restores, but it also resets placement, and it does something quite different to the straw. Some things are similar, but I find for people that have strong chests that can't get the high notes, this can be a game changer, and the uglies. So I'm going to show you how this works. So we're breathing into the cup, and I'm going to do a gentle siren. Oops, that's not. Now you can hear some air escaping, that's fine. We don't need full closure, but the goal is to get that pressure. So you should feel it at the back of your throat like a gentle pressure, and that's massaging and setting. Now, I need to be really clear with this. A lot of people, when they first start, they jam it and they push it, just like they're squeezing on the vocal folds. We need it super gentle. And initially, you'll find there's no volume. You might have a little bit in the bottom, but nothing at the top. And that's because it's trying to show you where to hit those high notes up the top, because you're just pushing and squeezing. So you've actually got to allow your voice to show you where it wants to go. So let me try that again. Now I'm putting it under my chin. You've got to find the right cup for you. It should be very muffled. We don't want it bright. We want it very muffled at the back. Now for me initially, after my vocal damage, if you haven't seen my story, I couldn't do this for the first 35 years of my life. So this is my journey. I know I've tried everything. And this was my breakthrough when all I could sing was under an A, no head voice or mix at all. And I had to let the voice show me a new pathway I'd never experienced before. And this is the game changer. If you're finding you've got so much chest and you can't get those high notes, this helps teach you where it wants to go. It's trying to show you you're ramming it into a position it's not meant to go in. So any tension in here, and you won't feel it until you're too tired, but that squeezing where you feel like you're pushing against, trying to ram something, it means you're in the wrong spot. So let's try this again, and you will feel it gently going backwards, and you'll feel a backwards movement and a forward movement. Both are meant to work together. And I think this is where sometimes people get it wrong. They either focus totally on the front or totally on the back, but often we don't have the both going together because the voice is resonating in different places. So let's try that cup again, very gently. And we want to go try to go chest to head, but initially no sound is actually fine because it's teaching you where to go. If you feel like you're squeezing, it's wrong. And then you might have to go back to the uglies. Or the tongue out. Because we've got to stop those muscles from squeezing. And initially you won't be able to control them yourself. You won't even feel they're squeezing. You'll just not be able to get through. So this is a game changer. And I know that a lot of the specialists, the ENT specialists and the speech therapists will get artists to do this 5 minutes 3 times a day. And after a week or two, they start to notice things popping in. So it's not about trying it once, but it is about reducing that pressure. Otherwise, if you're squeezing, your range is going to shrink again. or it's just going to get stuck. And so you'll fatigue quicker, all those things, because these muscles are inhibiting everything. And so we've got to teach them to get out of the way. That's why the tongue out works for some people. The uglies, they recruit the right muscle mix for head voice, right? And in my other video, I talked to you about how to get those uglies working on your song and unlock it into a beautiful tone. The ugly sound is not the goal. It's just recruiting those muscles. That's the mixed muscle with the pharyngeal, that. But the cup today, let's try that again on a siren. Now, I want you to hear that there's some air escaping, which is fine, because if you have none, often it won't work. And you want your cheeks blowing out. So check in the mirror that your cheeks are blowing out, because lots of people just go, ooh. That doesn't do the same thing. You want to feel the pressure at the back very gently. If you're tired afterwards, it means it's too much pressure, and you might need to go back to a tongue out or that, you're not quite ready for that pressure. But it's all about gentle, all about gentle. So I said at the end of the session, I would tell you, what's reducing your range. So it's if you're doing the straw wrong, if you're doing the cup wrong, if you're doing exercises where you're going, and it's constantly squeezing, we've got to change things, because that's just reinforcing the wrong muscle balance. So we've got to get those muscles out of the way. And then it might be the tongue out or the uglies, and you can look at my other videos for that. But that's the game changer. So you do not want to be doing exercises where you're squeezing and pushing. It is actually reducing your range and working against the freedom of the high notes. Hopefully you've loved this content, and we have so much more because we want to help you unlock your singing voice. So feel free to subscribe, like, comment, and we've got lots of content. There's a course you can jump into that we've made really affordable, so you can learn the steps to unlock your singing and your voice, or you can book me one-on-one if you need that clarity and that direction to unlock faster. Either way, can't wait to see you in the next video.